Hey, Scott, how you doing?
Hey, Randy, doing great. Really appreciate your time.
Excellent. Thank you for making the time. Really excited today to have a new friend, a recent friend, Scott Harvey, join. He's the Chief Revenue Officer for Sprinkler and relatively new in the role, a year, I guess. So you're very much accountable and responsible. So that's awesome. And we have a great title topic, outcome-based selling. So something certainly that is important to everybody. And thank you to our sponsor today, Octus IQ, who's a sales performance assessment sponsor of Sales Community. And these days, certainly in the go-to-market world, or really probably any department in any company, talent is first and foremost, right, Scott?
Absolutely.
And
talent's the lifeblood, man. Talent's the lifeblood.
Awesome. And they've got just a fantastic way, lots of expertise in the whole talent management area around kind of assessing where you're at, where's the puck going in terms of talent, how do you make sure you're hiring to that, how do you make sure you're moving people up or out within that profile based on the different roles that you have, and really great way that they do it, and working with a lot of the advisory board members at Sales Community as well. And also thanks brought to you also by Sales Community. For those that are members, thank you. For those that are not, Tucker threw up a link there, salescommunity.com/summer free. Pretty soon, I guess that'll be fall free, but feel free. And Scott's also on our advisory board. So thanks for that, Scott. Appreciate it. So by way of introduction, Scott lives in Woodinville, Washington, which I had not heard of before, but I now know that is wine country, Washington, right?
Yep, right just north of the big Microsoft.
Awesome. And 5 kids, a little bit of an age span there, between 3 and 22. And I'd like to note, most importantly, let's see, where is it there? The Bama, but has a senior at Alabama. So certainly make sure you enjoy that experience.
Yep, Roll Tide. It's a phenomenal experience, right?
Yeah, so great. And trying to figure out, we only met, I think, a month or so ago after Kevin Haverty had suggested we connect. And we connected and had obviously lots of common interest in a lot of different things. And by chance, I had somebody I think had just canceled on that day for today. And I said, hey, how about jumping in and doing the podcast? So great to have you.
Yeah, happy to be here. Really excited.
Cool. So by way of introduction, got some mutual friends. Mike Sheehy, I knew from EMC days, and great ServiceNow executive. When I first met Scott, I considered him a great solution consulting leader. I quickly learned he had a great business acumen and could excel in front of any audience. That is what makes him a great business leader. Also, we share a love of French fries and M&Ms. Love that. French fries, if I'm going to die, like French fries is the top of my list. Brandon,
he has a love of Tito's too. You got to remember. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. All right. I'll take the Tito's too. Brandon Sweeney, loves Scott, was first early on at VMware building out our SE services and value selling group, then crushed it at ServiceNow and Stripe. Great leader and human. Look forward to seeing him at the next Giddy Up Cup. What's that?
Oh, Brandon's phenomenal. So in Sun Valley, it's a bunch of different tech sales and finance leaders that get together and have a golf tournament. We do a guys ski trip in the winter, guys golf tournament in the fall. Brandon is the beekeeper because he likes to wear a sun visor that looks like a beekeeper hat. We just have a great blast. It's bantering and golf for a few days. Good time.
Awesome. All right. Well, I do golf, but I'm very passionate about skiing. So I'd be happy to get an invite on that one.
We got to get you there. Yep.
All right. And Mike Rich says, Scott was great to work with. He's always looking for new innovative ways to deliver value and help the customers achieve their business outcomes. He has a competitive fire in his belly. So great leader there, was a longtime ServiceNow, and now was it Elastic?
Mike is the CRO over at Zscaler now.
Zscaler.
And doing great there. Yeah, Mike's phenomenal, builds a good team, right? Very motivative, super genuine guy.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Dave Schneider, who is a longtime CRO, now a very successful venture capitalist and board member, Zscaler and others. Scott is unusual in that he has built his profession supporting the technical sales side of the house. I credit him with championing value selling at ServiceNow, then built our awesome pre-sales team when we needed to scale specialists. He did an amazing job. He has a strong followership and incredibly strong moral code of professional behavior. He is a winner. So really nice there. And lastly, from Mike Clayville, Scott is a very unique leader, having both great market awareness and a deep technical ability. These skills enable him to see market opportunities, but also translate them into business outcomes for customers. So pretty good mentions there for you, huh?
Yeah, a couple of the goats of the industry there in Schneider and Clayville, right? Clayville, obviously, long tenure between IBM and BEA, VMware, and then leading the wave at AWS for 7 years.
Right.
Figure that one from 2 to 54 billion. Probably be great on the pod at some time. And then Schneider, obviously, data domain and ServiceNow, and now what he's doing at Couture. Establishing so many different great young startup companies, and then really helping coach them on the go-to-market side, which I think a lot of startups need.
Right.
You see that with your startups too, that sales is kind of an afterthought sometimes, right? Yeah. So getting to success early is really important in those startups, and getting the go-to-market right from the beginning and knowing how to pivot it through the different waves of growth are really important. And Dave's like one of the masters at that. So
there you go. Perfect. So jumping into the questions here. So you went to Central Washington University, graduated in 96, and you're a broadcast journalism major, huh?
Yeah, I was going to be the next Vin Scully, baseball player in high school and college. Loved talking about the game. Really wanted to take that career path. But as you know, most people don't follow the path of what their degree's in, and they get into something different. And so out of school, I jumped right into sales.
Awesome. Really cool. So what was your first job? Was rep in the grocery industry, right?
Yeah. So a grocery wholesaler, right? Traveling around and peddling, candies and cigarettes and goods and really trying to drive order volume. And there were spiffs that we were running every week, every month. And you really start learning about customer relationships and what they're trying to do and how to help them grow their business. And it's a tight margin business, right?
There you go. Who would have thought that you would learn compensation driving behavior in the grocery business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then maybe quickly go through your impressive career from there.
Yeah. So, back in the mid 90s, if you'd look at the newspaper for finding a job, right? And so, running around being a sales rep, I was like, hey, where's this going for me? And you look at the newspaper, the jobs on the Sunday paper, and it's like half of it is healthcare and half is technology. So it was like, all right, I don't like the sight of blood. I got to get into technology. And at the time, Microsoft was really looking for warm bodies. They had just launched Windows 95, and they were hiring tons of support people. So I had a friend over there who was the manager of a support team. He said, hey, you should come over here, right? Tech is where everything's growing now with the internet. And so I jumped in and started doing support at Microsoft.
Wow. Awesome. That's great. And then kind of maybe just quickly go through from there.
Yeah. So got a ton of certifications. Software startups were booming in the late 90s. Got into the consulting side and really implementation, setting up networks for banks and modernizing them from SCO Unix to Windows. And then from there, got into the sales side, thanks to great recruiters like your company. And in a startup doing pre-sales and then leading pre-sales, and then jumped into VMware in the early days, 2001, 100 people selling the workstation product over the internet, right? No sales team at the time. And from there, participated at VMware for 13 years, got great mentorship from Carl Eschenbach and team when he came in. just, started building the career from there.
Awesome. Love Carl. We had him on last year. Did a great job. Really impressive career there for sure.
Phenomenal guy.
So great. And then you're at ServiceNow and Stripe, and then obviously now Sprinkler.
Yep. ServiceNow, great run, right? Learned so much at VMware, going from 20 million to 5.5 billion with Carl Clayville and team. A few other guys, Jeff Casale, Rich Girafo, right? Could name a million of them that from that group. Brandon Sweeney was key there as well. And got the opportunity to do it all over again with Dave Schneider and Kevin Haverty and Mike Sheehy and team at ServiceNow, right? They're about 400 million. When I got there, we grew it to over 5 billion. We built a path to 10 billion. Really exciting to see them land on that path. The path we built, they landed on. Last year was phenomenal to see the success they're having. During the pandemic, went over to Stripe, payments company, right? Top disruptor for multiple years, really looking to build out the financial infrastructure of the future, right? For all sizes of customers, between small to large. They grew tremendously during the pandemic, phenomenal growth. They got a great strategy around winning every startup, building a moat for developers, and a lot of product-led growth. And then Kevin Haverty's on the board of Sprinkler and said, "Hey, Sprinkler could probably use your help." So I came over here and take a look. And Sprinkler's got a phenomenal AI-driven customer experience platform. The compelling value of this is they unify all the channels. So from social to mass media to digital channels to voice, they have unification of all of them. So it's truly an engagement layer to engage with your customers and get bi-directional. And then the platform is such a great platform that it's an orchestrated system of action, right? So you can market, sell, and service to any customer, right, through the platform, meet them in any channel that they're at, with personalized engagement, personalized marketing, personalized ads, convert that to sales, right? You can actually, and we do this as a company, you can actually do prospecting through any channel, and very personalized prospecting through any channel, and convert it to revenue. And we've got customers doing innovative things there. So great platform. I think it's one of the hidden gems in tech that many people don't know about. And I expect us to have some high growth over the next 4 or 5 years.
That's great. And then what are you allowed to talk about in terms of numbers for revenue or number of customers, anything like that?
So right now, we're about 750 million revenue, about 2,000 customers. Publicly we announced we have over $150 million customers, right? We got a strong following in the Fortune 100. About 81 of the Fortune 100 brands are customers. And Global 2000 is really our sweet spot. So we're looking to grow our Global 2000 base and really focus there. We do have commercial mid-market customers, but I think our big focus is in the enterprise.
Yeah, that's great. And then what are the typical executive decision-making levels that you sell to?
So historically, when they were really just focused on social media, they were kind of in the director level looking at business problems. With the platform expanding, we're really looking to sell at the C level. So CMO, CDO, CIO, COO, CCO, and CRO, right?
Awesome. That's great. And then is that kind of a change a bit? Like, take example, your VMware experience, right? You go from that to then, leveraging it, Casale and others were, deep in the weeds and trying to get the enterprise selling motion going. Is that a similar thing with you and your sellers?
Yeah. So the great thing about where we are today, it's a pivot and a growth that we did at VMware, and it's a pivot and growth we did at ServiceNow. Everyone starts really at that manager director level, looking for business challenges within departments, single use case, try to land in that department, try to get a new use case in that department, or you try to go to another department with the same use case. and then you try to work up the chain and do an enterprise agreement, right, at the C level. At VMware, we were really focused around CIO, CTO, and VP of Dev, VP of Eng, technology, and then we expanded from there, right, when we really got into strategic software-defined data center. At ServiceNow, we were, IT service management director or manager at first, right?
Right.
And then we really scaled up to CIO and making IT our homies, right, our friends and our champions. And then we expanded, right? We went to CHRO, even CFO, right? There's one customer that when we started looking at the system, we saw that they were doing more workflow through finance than they were through IT. And when we brought that to the attention of the CFO, he got really excited about what he could do with the platform. So, ServiceNow, we pivoted. We got up to the CIO, the CISO, the CTO, and then we pivoted to the Chief Product Officer, the Chief Digital Officer, and then, of course, the COO, CCO, and CHRO and CFO, right? Really a C-suite sell, and that's where they're at today. Yeah. And even at Stripe, right? Stripe, same thing, right? When I got there, they were in the director of finance, VP of payments, and we pivoted and we got into the chief product officer. How do you embed payments into your commerce platform, right? In your strategy? How do you embed the financial services they offer into the strategy? So we got to CFO, CTO, CIO, CPO there, and now at Stripe, it's really the same model, right? Of if you focus on the outcomes, let's talk about outcome selling. It's at the C level that you need to be.
Yeah, and then maybe talk to the audience a bit about the importance of value selling, especially selling to the C-suite.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the things that I focus on are one, what's the relevant conversations today in the present in the C-suite, which means you have to know the customer's priorities and their key initiatives. So if you know their strategic priorities and their key initiatives, you can start to understand the outcomes they're trying to drive for their business. And then you can map your capabilities to those outcomes, right? And so it is a consultative selling approach. As you know, value is very personal. And then there's also value that's very measurable. The first thing you got to do is hit the personal value with the customer, right? And so if you're with a CIO who is tasked with, give an example from Stripe is, getting Apple Pay into their mobile application, right? And their metrics and their bonuses tied to that by the end of the year. Personal value and how we build a plan with them to go do that, right? And achieve that for them and for their company, right? So personal value is important to find. And then the overall measurable value, because as you know, we are competing with every other vendor for the customer's budget, the customer's time, the customer's resources. And so if we can tie to their key priorities and initiatives that are at the C level, then we can build a value mountain, for lack of a better term, right? To say, hey, this should be our top priority initiative. And so we're all competing for budget. We've got to get that initiative as high as we can, right?
Yeah. So if you're Sprinkler and you're competing against kind of whoever, if you have can represent, especially say to a CFO here, by going with us, here's how we're going to help you generate revenue. Here's how we're going to help you save money. That's a huge differentiator as opposed to, sometimes at lower level selling, they're more interested in kind of the speeds and the feeds and the technology, but kind of really having the, business discussion around revenue and operating expenses is typically the keys of the kingdom, right?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple examples. And I see the ghost just opened your door. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. Now, that's for America's Got Talent. If your dog can go up and open the door and come in.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I didn't spend time.
Yeah, but let me give you a couple examples. So if you're a major airline and you have an on-prem call center and you want to move it to the cloud, right? Sprinkler's a great platform for that, right? Because again, as a customer experience platform, we provide, customer service and call center as a service, all the way through to the social media marketing and advertising piece, right? Yeah. So there, we would work with a COO, VP of customer service, and really their call center leadership and help them drive that outcome. Another one could be, hey, I want to increase my membership program 3x, right? So how do you attract and acquire more members to your membership program, whether you're a large big box retailer or you're an airline or something else, right? And we can help them do that through personalized engagement through social channels and direct channels and the marketing and advertising you can do through the Sprinkler platform, as well as the sales development work you can do. If you're a retailer who wants to move your business to 50% direct to consumer, or a manufacturer wants to go direct to consumer and wants to open new markets, right? We're a great platform for that. How do we help you go open new markets? We have one customer right now who's going into 22 new countries, right, with their products and goods. And a lot of those countries, they don't know the brand, right? They don't know the brand, right? Yeah. The native language of the company is not the same as the country, right? So, and they don't have presence there. But we can help them because they can go and build their brand, right, through social media, marketing, advertising, engagement, listen in that country for how their brand's being received, how the messaging is being received, and they can tune it and fine tune it so they can get higher conversion rates within that country. And then, of course, they can focus on certain demographics, right, of audiences, so they can attract certain audiences. And they can use the channels where those audiences are, right, that are best purpose fit for what they're selling. We have financial services companies coming to us all day long now because of integration with Reddit and how there's so much influence in financial services, learning how to do stock trading, learning about wealth management on Reddit, that the financial services companies want to engage with those people who are really interested. And they're looking to really, one, pivot their brand so they can attract new high net worth earners, right? And two, bring them in to their offerings and their capabilities. So they know they need to provide hyper personalized insights and information, not just generic, retirement and wealth management information, right? Our platform gives them the capabilities to listen to the customer, synthesize, right? Really understand what the customer is looking for, and then take action on it, right? And engage in a personalized way. So
awesome. And then around the kind of value selling, then you also leverage, I think, Spotlight.ai.
Yeah. So Spotlight is a great tool for us to really drive our value selling calculation and metrics and build great business cases with customers, right? So that they can justify the spend and really align on the return on the outcome that they're looking for, that ties right back to their overall priorities, right?
Awesome. And we have a couple comments from Joey Gilkey. Thanks, including Scott's team is super sharp. So he's Phone Ready Leads, cool company. It's eventually will help you guys in improving your cold calling. And we're talking in the prep that kind of going a bit old school, email and all this other stuff, kind of bounces a lot, but kind of your push in terms of having the sales team kind of lean in more on, I'll call it old school cold calling. That's something that's important for your lead gen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we've seen the last 4 years is we've gotten away from some of the core things that are really important in selling. And one of those is relationship management and building relationships. So getting face-to-face, right? The other thing is talking to each other. Text and email and LinkedIn, connects. Those are great for certain things, but not to build the real relationship. And so, inbound was coming in pretty fast in 2021 for all companies, right? Because there was cash and everyone was trying to connect through text and digital, right? Because we were quarantined up. Now, prospecting is really important. Outbound is so important right now. And the funny thing is I think you get better connection giving someone a call on the phone and chatting to them there than you do through email. I think email bounces all the time, right? It's kind of a big pain. So yeah, going back to some old school lead gen capabilities are really starting to work, right?
Works out great. So the we touched on a few of the things already, but talking about outcome-based selling, maybe give your own definition of that.
Yeah, and I kind of teed up a little bit of it before there, right? Yeah. To me, the best thing to do is know so much about your software and capabilities, your ideal customer profile, and your product market fit that you don't have to think about it, and that you can just totally turn and focus on the customer. And if you can really understand the customer's priorities, their key initiatives, the outcomes they're trying to drive, help define those outcomes with them, and consult to the customer and map your capabilities in, you can drive so much more value, and you can drive a faster sales cycle, right? You become a strategic consultative partner versus a vendor to the customer. I was with a CIO recently of a big consumer products company, and he quite frankly took the meeting, being gracious, right? And he's like, "Hey, I got 512 vendors. You're one of 512, and I have to do app consolidation and rationalization. So we're really looking to, that you're a tool set that we could get rid of, right? You're a commodity." And I said, "Great, I understand that. Let's talk more about what your strategic priorities and initiatives are and what you're trying to do." Right. And learning what he's trying to do around revenue growth, delighting customers with new self-service capabilities, and then obviously getting back to the tool rationalization, he's got to cut costs and drive efficiencies within his team, right? And having his team support 512 different apps doesn't work real well. So obviously all the big players, the Salesforces, the ServiceNows, the Adobes, the Microsofts, and SAPs, they're coming in with a platform, buy us, and we can do everything for you. And so for him, right, I talked about how Sprinklr is that workflow for the front office that can connect his Adobe marketing stack with his Salesforce commerce and sales stack, right, and service stack, as an end-to-end front office for engagement and action for his customers. And he's like, "Wow, I didn't know you guys could do that," right? He goes, "I really should be looking at you as one of my top 10 platforms versus one of 512 vendors," right?
Definitely. Yeah.
And when he realized that, hey, we can consolidate his tech stack, his service stack, and his sales stack for him, right? And he could have 3 platforms that he operates from, and that we're so interchangeable that he could swap out his commerce platform if he wants to do a Shopify or whoever else, right? He started seeing us as a strategic consultant. And now you're really starting to talk about the outcomes. So what are you trying to do with a Gen AI chatbot, right? And how are you trying to deliver better experience? And are you looking to have more folks land on the website and convert to sales? And so if your sales conversion, you want to increase it by 30%, you want to increase your support deflection by 50%, right? Those are outcomes. And those are outcomes we can go work with you on. You want to reduce your cost, by 25% of all your IT tools. And so now we start working on those outcomes with them as a strategic partner, and then just being honest with them. Hey, we can't help you here, right? We don't have the capabilities to help you here. I always try to recommend other, software partners or vendors who do have best in class there for them, and that we work with, so that we can still provide a solution even where we're not, right, that capability for them. And I think helping them achieve their outcomes in that capacity, provides you rewards for your lifetime value with your customer.
Yeah, absolutely. So important. And then you also have to make sure it's great that you can do it, right? But you got to make sure you have your sales teams, because they, somebody could have easily just whiffed on, okay, we're one of 512, but, taking the time out, pause. Well, let's dig into that a little bit more. I mean, that's, something that's crucial, right, for your sales teams.
Yeah. So there is a lot of sales enablement and training that has to go on here. We really focus with our teams on a strategy deck, right? In building a point of view of the customer. So really teaching them, read the 10Ks, get the news releases, really walk the halls and understand from the directors and VPs what the business challenges are, but what the company priorities are. I love walking the halls of the customer and reading the values, right? And then aligning to their values. I get so much intelligence as we walk into a customer meeting, and I'm walking through the reception and understanding from the person at the reception what the culture's like, how they are, right? And seeing, all of the information on the walls, reading through it, seeing how people are engaging with each other, and then really speaking the customer's language in the meeting. So, teaching the team to be able to speak the customer's language is important, and a willingness to be wrong, right? Be vulnerable. It's okay if you ask a dumb question or you say something, because the more the customer's educating you on their business, the closer you're bonding to that customer and the better engagement and outcome you can have for both of you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So critical there for sure. And then kind of with that, then from a kind of, I'll say, sales training aspect in terms of, a lot of things that I see now, you have, leaders that were promoted up during COVID, really didn't get the right coaching or development.
Yep.
Sometimes they got promoted because they deserved it. Other times it was because it was kind of more of a retained thing. You've got kind of new sellers in. Yeah, my words would be, a lot of them are kind of, lazy, but just haven't really been, kind of properly trained. Kind of what process do you use, or is that still something that you're working on around that whole kind of training and enablement so they can perform, close to the level that you would on a sales call and sales process?
Yeah, no, it's a great call out, right? The last 4 years, there was a lot of promotion to retain, but without a lot of great coaching, enablement, and development of sales leaders. And then there was a lot of bringing in new people with very little experience, right? And it takes time to ramp them up. So we've been working across theaters and regions to really help train up the teams. I think one of the biggest challenges that everyone has right now in this is a resistance to change, right? And folks need to understand why they need to change or why this is better for them. So really highlighting the team members that are having great success and are overachieving. And I'm really excited. This in sales, right? We always want to have a sales rep hit 7 figures for the year, right? And if you can get a couple of them to do that, that's even better, right? And I'm excited right now with us that, we have that where we're at, and we can even drive more of that. So if you can highlight the ones who are doing the great things and winning, and have them be part of that training, that's really important, right? And then you want to show them the path. So the consistent rigor, and then as you got to inspect what you expect, otherwise it falls apart, right? You could, whatever sales methodology you do, and you do a medic or a force management or value selling, spin, right? Top selling, all of these. No matter what you do, if you don't, have it ingrained in your DNA and your daily operations, there's not a lot of value out of it. So for us, building out the strategy decks, the account plans, the territory plans, and then building that into our weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annual process is really important. And laying out with, hey, here are the relevant conversations, right, today in the marketplace, and the tailwinds in the business that you can leverage for those conversations, which will then bring out that point of view and allow you to map the capabilities back. And there's a standard capability mapping to outcomes, right? And this, most industries and customers have very similar outcomes they're trying to achieve. Yep. Right? You're either trying to make money, save money, retain customers, grow market share,
stay out of jail.
Stay out of jail. Yeah. So you got 5 things you're trying to do, right? Really. And it's a matter of mapping to those and how you can do it. Right?
Yeah, that's great. And we're on here for a little bit longer. So certainly anybody has any comments or questions, feel free to chime in. And as always, we got Tucker behind the scenes helping. So you've mentioned already a lot of great mentors and coaches here you've had. Any kind of one or two in particular with kind of specific advice that you've received that you'd like to share?
Yeah, you mentioned on a few of those folks how they said, Scott was a great technology leader. At VMware, in my early days, I was not in sales. I started as the alliance manager for Microsoft, and then Microsoft bought a competitor. So then I became a team of competitive marketing of one, right, and tech marketing. And Raghu Raghuram, who was the last CEO of VMware, he was my boss, and we had a really a product marketing team of 3 of us at the time. And so I was training the sales team on the products, and Carl Eschenbach had just started as our director of sales for North America. That's how small the company was. And he said, after I was training his team of 5, he's like, wow, we got to get you into sales, right? So I jumped into the go-to-market side, and grew from that. And so Carl was a great, mentor and an example of an inspiring leader. And so leading with positivity, inspiring others to do their best work, that's something that I really took away from Carl.
Yeah.
And love to operate from. And just his authenticity and how genuine he was, and even with customers, right? It's amazing the things that customers would do, and Carl didn't have to ask them to do them, right? They would do them because they wanted to have him as the person that they were counting on, right, in the end, right? If something went wrong, they want to know they had someone of his qualities to go to. And then another one is Mike Clayville, right? Very engaging, personality. He's the guy you want to go have a beer with, right? And hang out with and really, really learn from. So it brings energy into the room that excites everyone in the room and makes everyone in the room feel special, right? So another unique superhero quality. And so going on sales calls with Mike Clayville is like cocaine, right? It's addicting. It's exciting.
Does he have his cowboy hat though?
He has his cowboy hat. It's a caffeine high. Customers love it. We were actually on a call with Mark Cuban to talk about crypto and whatnot. And Mark sees the cowboy hat, just gets all excited, right? So yeah, great. Just really a great engagement, right? And just breaks the ice, really gets you to be able to lean in and talk to the customer about what they value. And he just brings an amazing energy with him. So tells me, hey, you got to bring the energy every day, right? And the motor's got to run if you're going to be great in sales. And then, obviously Dave Schneider and Kevin Haverty, two very, very different folks. And not just because Dave's a big guy and Kevin's a smaller guy, but Kevin is a very high calm. If you want a poker player, Kevin would be a phenomenal poker player because he is just so even keel, high calm. And then he'll just say something that makes everyone think, right? And think differently than maybe they were thinking at the time. So really teaches you to, really, I take away from Kevin is seek to understand, seek to partner, right, with the other folks, and don't sweat the small stuff, right? That's that even keel that he keeps, right? That calmness. Because if you keep that calmness, you can be really, really good, right, at everything you're doing. And then Dave, another inspiring leader, right? Wears his emotions on his chest, and he cares so much that he expresses the care, right? And so that to me is really important. And making sure people know you're human and you feel for them. That's a great inspiring thing about Dave, is you always knew he cared about you, right? And he can be grumpy Dave when he needs to be, and he needs to put some heat on the team. But it's also, they know that, hey, he really cares and is going to bat for me. He's got my back all day long, but he's going to hold me accountable. And so that's another great thing is, and you call that the firm but fairness, right? Mentality. So those are for tremendous sales leaders that I've been lucky and privileged to experience. And they're all business leaders, right? They've all grown to be great business leaders. So those are four that I take away, key things from. And yes, across the four, they all have very high integrity, right?
Absolutely. And from Roy, we have such an amazing team. It's Sprinkler, best value selling leadership and business value consulting team I've seen. What is your view on value selling in a post-sales world / customer success? I think we touched on that, earlier around the importance of value selling, but anything different you'd want to add on?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we built value selling at VMware, and then we built it at ServiceNow. And Stripe didn't have it at the time. We built it there, and Sprinkler had it when I got here, and we're continuing to fine tune it. A while back, several of us got in a room. We were at ServiceNow, and we built kind of what we called the value life cycle, and it's enable value, which is the sales cycle, right? Really get vision and strategy alignment with the customer, envision value together. And that creates the momentum for the deal. And this, time kills all deals. It's emotional, buying's emotional. You got to get them really the momentum and excitement there. And you get that emotion and envisioning that value together, you can close a deal. Then the implementation is really about creating value. And it's really important that the implementation is outcome based and you're delivering the outcome the customer wants. That's where you create the value. And then day two, once they go live, it's all about realizing value. And you got to make sure they're realizing value and that they continue to realize value through the contract. Otherwise, they're going to churn. Now, from there, as they're realizing value, you got to champion the success with the customer, right? And you got to celebrate that success. And so part of that is giving the customer the tools for them to communicate the success they're having, right, to their executives. I was just met with a customer about 4 weeks ago, and they were having a challenge, and they really needed specific reporting and dashboards together. And I asked them, I said, when's your next ELT meeting or your next board meeting? They're like, hey, we have a board meeting September 10th. And I'm like, how would it be if we were able to produce this for you so you could show them? And it was around media and advertising, right? Paid media advertising ROI. Hey, here's our spend. Here's the return we're getting on the conversion rates, et cetera, right? And they go, that would be phenomenal, right? We want to show them how well we're doing on Meta and TikTok and Amazon and Google, et cetera, right? And so I got the team together and they built this out. And now that VP and that director who are owning the project and owning our spend with us, they were able to walk in the board meeting with the critical, paid advertising metrics they wanted. So think of the personal value to them.
Huge.
Yeah, huge personal value to them. We're now a trusted advisor to them, right? And they're going to lean in deeper with us. So I think the big thing on post-sales value is to understand that the ROI you did to close the deal, the CFO wrote that off the table. Don't try to come back and say, hey, you've saved $3 million by using us for the last 2 years. That's already gone. Right. It's all about what's the present value they're getting and the future value they can get. That's what drives your renewal and your upsell, right? So when the rear view mirror, right, is the previous value, the windshield is what's most important. It's okay to talk about the rear view mirror. Don't try to sell them on it, right? Get the customer to lean in with you on the value they're getting today, and in the future value, and then sell that together. And that's really what, to me, value selling is all about, right? And measuring realized value through the operational process and post-sales.
Absolutely. And talking about, rear view mirror, which is kind of, to me, what the old sales ops was, and now kind of RevOps more kind of through the windshield. That's something that's really important. And I know with your impressive tech stack that you have as well, right?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, if everything is data driven these days, right? And you need your customer insights and data in order to forecast your business. You need to partner very closely with your CFO on the revenue side. And so we need to both not just thinking about bookings, but revenue and what's the revenue look like for the company. And as you know, budget wise, we need to be, plus or minus 2%, right? It's really down to that tight nowadays, especially in the big businesses. It can even be 0.5%. So having a RevOps team that really understands the business, has great infrastructure, systems, process, and operating model, data insights at your fingertips in real time is super important. So the RevOps team we have here right now, I think, is a best-in-class RevOps team. We're really excited about what they're doing for us. And obviously the tools they're using are important as well, to provide that customer 360 view, so that you can actually make your decisions and project your revenue and your forecast, right?
Yeah, I've been impressed. Keith and the team on the RevOps side, and then Ben and his team on the sales development. Those are really the kind of probably unsung hero. Like you're the CRO, okay, it's a credit, right? But you got those almost like unsung heroes, behind the scenes, really kind of maybe you're the duck on top that's calm, but then they're the one. Not that you're not working, but they're the ones that are paddling away for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, selling is a team sport, right? That's why I love it so much. I played team sports growing up and loved being a part of a team. Winning as a team is really all about all functions in the go-to-market working together in service of the customer. And if the customer wins, we win, right? So really being selfless and focusing on the customer. And so, yeah, your SDR team, we need innovative ways right now to go build pipeline. Right. I think every company will tell you that their inbound pipe is running dry. Right. It's kind of like our Alaska pipeline. Right. It's not producing what it did 5 years ago. So you've got to turn around and you've got to have an outbound pipe that is double or triple what it was when your inbound pipe is low. And so that's the SDR team using great tools to go out in creative ways to get high qualified leads. The highly qualified leads are really what's important versus, you get a lot of low qualified leads and you're wasting time and chasing things down. Right. So, and then, on the RevOps side, if you have AI and analytics that tell you, hey, here's the next product for this customer, right? Based on their customer journey and maturity model, we can start driving great upsell and cross-sell in the install base, giving them more value and us more value from that, right? So RevOps is extremely important to help guide us in where we're going.
Absolutely. Well, time flies when you're having fun. Scott, you've been an amazing guest. Thanks to Octus IQ, the sales performance sponsor of Sales Community, for sponsoring today. And for some of the upcoming folks we have next week, Steve Zhao, who's a longtime great go-to-market exec for Cynics. Then Scott McNeely, a kind of founder of Sun Tech legend for sure. Denise Millard, who runs channels at Dell. Matt Horner, senior exec WWT, and other great lineup. So Tucker, thanks for your help behind the scenes. For those that are members of Sales Community, thanks. For those that are not, feel free to join. And Scott, you've been an awesome guest. Thanks so much, and look forward to watching your continued success.
Well, thank you, Randy.